Have you guys ever hauled an oversized load and you really didn't know what you were getting into? I think everybody, whenever they do their first couple oversized loads, especially when you're on your own like me, it's a learning experience. There's definitely a learning curve. There's a lot of things that I just didn't know. I had to research, I had to ask people, and even when I ask people, sometimes I still have to look it up because, let's be honest, sometimes people are just wrong. Anyway, we're on our way to Tulsa in this video, and this is an educational video slash time lapse. I originally had music in this right here. For the people who are subscribed to my channel, they'll probably know that this video was already uploaded about a year ago, and YouTube just would not let me remove the music claim for some reason. I'm usually able to do it on my other videos, but for some reason on this one I just couldn't do it. So I had to save the video, and now I am editing it. Yeah, that was a bad rollover right there, guys. I think we're about in Tulsa right here. And the place we're going to is called American Electric Power. Like I said, Tulsa, Oklahoma. And the load is going to AEP, Oklahoma Trans Company. That's in Lawton, Oklahoma. And the reason I'm having to get an oversized permit is because the load is going to stick out from the back of the trailer more than 4 feet. Anything over 4 feet, got to have that permit. And I would suggest just to call your state's permit department directly. I just called the permit department instead of using, somebody like JJ Keller, because they get things wrong sometimes and they charge you a lot more money. So the Oklahoma permit department is 405-425-7012. Texas permit department is 800-299-1700. So we're getting quite a bit closer at this point, and whenever I was going down these roads, I thought that I was going down the wrong road. I'm not going to lie. I mean, look at that. That's a residential street. But that is the way to go in there, and these streets are for semi-trucks, believe it or not. But there it is, right there. Pull in. Got to get buzzed in. That took a minute. I had to figure out what I was there to grab. And then they just told me to go around here to the back. It's a pretty quick load because they got some big forklifts, as you can see. And then I had to get the truck all set up for oversized. Just remember to like and subscribe for more trucking related content such as this, and I'll keep them coming, guys. So I don't have the flag holders on my bumpers, like the ones you see on all the Peterbilts and Kenworths. So I just have to improvise. You never can have enough bungee straps, right? Just had to use one up top and then one on the bottom, and hey, it worked out. You got to put your orange flag up front. Orange flags, I should say, plural. Red flags in the back, and you'll be good to go with the flags. So I'm just getting all my boards laid out at this point. They're about to load me up, and it's going to stretch across the whole bed, so I think I put 5 or 6 of them out there. A good length for these boards is about 8 feet. Don't cut them at 102 inches, because then whenever places load you up, the boards move around and then they'll stick out on one side or the other. So if you put them at 8 feet, they'll have a little wiggle room. All right, we got loaded up. There it is, 57 feet. And as you can see right here, I just wrapped these bungees around these flags. That holds them in pretty tight. I think I'm going to go ahead and put a couple more on each side right here, just in case, but I believe this is where they should be, since this is the farthest protruding area of the trailer. All right, well, we're finished up, and of course we're running behind. I haven't done an oversized load in, oh God, probably 2 years at least. So yeah, I'm struggling with this one. We're gonna go ahead and get these straps pulled through here. I don't like rolling my straps up in the winches. A lot of guys do that, but they just don't last very long, in my opinion, whenever you roll them up in there. And I like to be able to keep them nice and dry and out of the weather in my truck, rather than out here in the elements. And if you wonder how I do tie my straps, because I know I kind of do it fast in the videos and a lot of times they're sped up, I'll show you here how I do it. Of course, pull them through, not quite all the way, about right to there, and I always do it with the lettering side up. You'll see why here in a second. But here's how you do it. Go ahead and run it through, letter side up, Get you about foot and a half worth, and just start doing this. Start winding it up. Keep it nice and straight. Then once you get to the end here, when you have about 3 feet, you get about 3 feet, flip it underneath, run it up on the underside of the rail, underneath the strap, push it up about even with the bottom of the rail, and then run this through your winch. Try to get you at least a couple turns, 2 or 3 turns, and there you go. Do this one a little faster. Alright, we're almost finished up. I got the main part up here strapped down, but there's 2 loose pieces right here. This isn't enough. This is barely even putting any pressure on it, so we got to run 3 straps through the middle of this. Alright, this is what I use, guys. I don't know if you noticed, but when I was filming it, there's a block that's loose, so you can reach that broomstick in there, check to see how loose each one of these are. That one's good. Let's check this one. That one right there. Need to go and grab it. All right, we're all finished up. Let's do one final check. Of course, you always want to make sure your straps are good and tight, and I tighten the crap out of these because this is all metal, so you can cinch these down as tight as you want to. And here on the back, that wood, don't worry about it. It's got to be strapped down, so if that wood gets damaged, oh well, it's better than it flying off. Also, you're going to want to check the top of the load, make sure there's no loose pieces of wood. We'll go ahead and make sure all of our straps are attached on this side and they're not hooked up to the rail. You don't want to hook up to the rail. A lot of guys do it. That rail's not made to hold straps with that much pressure on them. That's not what it's there for. You want to hook them underneath the frame. That's where all your structural integrity is at, not here. That rail's weak. Okay, and then we're going to do one final check here on the top of the load and make sure there's no loose pieces of lumber. Alright, and unfortunately there were a lot of loose pieces of lumber. These boards right here, even this one, it's in there pretty good, but like that one there, it had to go. Almost all those boards had to be taken off of there because that banding they put around them, it's just not very strong, especially when you put your straps over the load. All right, let's get out of here. One last thing you definitely want to make sure of before you leave is your paperwork, which I'm doing right now. Just make sure that your destination matches up. Looks like mine does. Make sure the description matches. Your piece count's good. Looks like all mine is. 3 pieces, 3 bundles plus 2 more, 5 pieces. About 13,000 pounds, so we're good to go. All right, we're getting out of here, and since this is an oversized load, you have to take the path that they give you. So you want to make sure whenever you leave, you know where you're going, because a lot of times where Google's showing isn't going to match up to your the directions that they give you for your route. You got to take those directions exactly. If you stray off from that route and you get pulled over, it can be a pretty heavy fine. So just make sure you know where you're going before you leave. You don't want to be trying to figure it out when you're
out there on the road, because it's going to be hard to find anywhere to pull over, especially with an oversized load, and try to figure this stuff out. So just make sure you got all your ducks in a row before you roll out. And I know with Oklahoma, you can't be out 30 minutes after sunrise, and then it's 30 minutes prior to sunset. So just make sure that you're not out when it's dark. Before I left, I was just checking up on the Oklahoma website to make sure that I'm up to date on all the rules and everything as far as oversized loads go. And apparently they changed the size that you have to have for your flagging to 18 inch, because I was going into all the truck stops and I noticed that the flags they were selling were much larger than the ones that that I have. Because used to, they were real small flags you would buy in the truck stop. At first I thought that the truck stops were trying to sell flags that were larger than you need, but then I looked on the website, Oklahoma's website, and it was saying you got to have 18-inch flags. So they changed the rules somewhere along the way, but every state's different. I know here you don't have to have a beacon. Some states, I guess, you have to have a beacon up on top. I guess some states even allow travel like after sunset. Like I said, you just got to check with your state, because they're all going to be different. I like to pull over about 25-30 miles in, make sure that all my banners and everything's still intact, because usually if something ain't right, you're going to know it within the first 20 or 30 miles, and then you might pull over another 150 miles after that. We're getting on 44 now. Alright, when you're doing oversized loads, you want to make sure wherever you pull at to eat is just right off the road. You don't want to be driving, you know, a mile or two down some road that's not on your permit, because if you get pulled over, good luck. And when you do pull in, make sure you get a spot where you can get in and out pretty easily. There's a spot right there, but even if they do, there should be plenty of room to pull straight and swing wide there. Really, I'm not much longer than a 53 footer, because I'm overhanging a little bit in the front of the trailer. So kind of funny I just said that. This four-wheeler, hopefully he's not sitting there for a long time. Looks like he's pulling up. A lot of times four-wheelers, they don't understand, or they just don't know the stuff we got to deal with. Like he wouldn't even know that I got to swing out there real wide. He should. He's pulling a trailer. I would hope he does, but a lot of times people in four-wheelers just don't understand the geometry and everything that goes into pulling a trailer, and you know, so that's understandable. You don't really know until you pull one, for the most part. Alright, so before we go in and grab me a bite to eat, I'm going around this load making sure everything's alright. And I got this permitted for 7 feet in the back, so I can just use my arms, because your arms spread out, fingertip to fingertip are generally your height. So I'm sitting at about 6 feet, and then I'm permitted for 2 feet on the height. So we're good. Flags are still up. Oversized banner's still there, so everything looks good. We're going to go in here and see what we can find to eat. Slim pickings. I'm about to pull out, and of course the truck pulled in next to me. But luckily, as you can see, I got a rear view camera on this bad boy, so I can kind of keep an eye on my load. Let's go ahead and swing out. We'll have plenty of room though.
made it to our destination. Hopefully you enjoyed that music. I have limited music to pick from because I get copyright claims so often. I pay for music too and I still get copyright claims. It's really frustrating. And even the music that is suggested on here for replacement music, sometimes it gets claims. It drives me insane because then you have to go back and do all this editing and yeah, I'm going off on a rant here about stuff you probably don't care about. But anyway, back to the video. Hey, if you guys don't have one of these strap winders, get you one. It's pretty awesome. Keeps you from having to, roll up these straps with your hands, which takes forever. I just got this at a truck stop, and I just use vice grips to mount it to the frame because the little screw that they give you, it doesn't hold up. It's hard to explain, but you got to have vice grips. But it works great. I've used this thing for like 5 years since I've started the business basically, and man, it saves me so much time. And like I was saying, I don't like winding up the straps in the winches, just because I don't like leaving them out there in the elements and people can come along and steal them. Yeah, each strap takes about probably 10 seconds to roll up, so that's pretty quick compared to what you do by hand takes probably a minute to roll up each strap. And now you just see me take off the flags. Of course, it's a lot easier to take these bungees loose than it is to put them up, just a matter of seconds, and all your work is just tore down. And then right here, I'll just show you how I kind of roll everything up. I like to put all the flags and even the banners all together, kind of like in one bundle. And then I just use rubber bands or zip ties and it just keeps everything all together. That way you don't have pieces, all over the place. It's just all right there. Everything you need in one bundle. Then once you got it all rolled up in a big bundle, you can bust out the zip ties, and unfortunately my zip ties weren't long enough. I think these were only like maybe 6 inches or maybe 8. I think these were 8. They just didn't wrap around. So hey, you can just put 2 zip ties together like you just saw, and then just go ahead and cinch them up. And that thing ain't going nowhere with them zip ties holding it like that, boys. Or you could always put rubber bands around it too if you don't have zip ties.
Alright, we're out of here. I gotta get something to eat. I'm starving. All I had earlier was some gas station food. I know where I was at earlier, you guys might have seen there was a McDonald's there, but I don't eat at McDonald's anymore. I haven't eaten there since January 1st of 2018, and reason for that is because I've been vegan since 2018. It was something my wife did before me, and I kind of poked fun at her for it and ridiculed her for it sometimes. We got into some arguments. One day I just thought, I'm really talking a lot of crap about something I've never tried, so I thought I would try it, and I did tell her about it, and it was a lot easier than I thought. I think a lot of people think that they can't do it and they just never try it. Because you constantly hear bad stuff about the diet on TV, people who haven't done it right. They might have been eating nothing but carrots or something, getting the wrong nutrition. Just look at the standard American diet. It goes wrong all the time. People get morbidly obese, and for some reason that doesn't count. It's kind of weird. Yeah, 2 weeks later I had to tell her about it, and ever since then me and her have been vegan. And whenever I first switched over to it, there was this whole stereotype that surrounds veganism, that you have to be a big flaming left-wing Democrat, and if you let that mindset keep you from trying out a diet, then that's a shame. Just because people that I disagree with partake of a certain diet doesn't mean there's something inherently wrong with that diet. I went ahead and tried the diet, and once you can get outside that box and try things that kind of go outside the norm for your group, because I come from the country, I'm redneck, so you're supposed to kind of stay within the guidelines of being a redneck. You're supposed to hunt, fish, you know, drink beer, drive a pickup, you know, get drunk every Saturday night. You know, you're supposed to live that country boy, that country song, you know, that Tim McGraw song or Toby Keith. And I used to do that. That used to be my life. And then one day, I just decided I'm going to start living the life the way I want to live my life. And yeah, it does kind of throw people off, especially people who, you know, you grew up with and stuff, and people that are close to you. They forget I'm vegan all the time, but that's understandable. You know, I was vegan for 34 years, so once you can decide you don't care what other people think, man, doors just open up for you. Once you can decide other people's opinions and other people's negativity towards whatever your lifestyle is, whatever your choices are, once you decide that that's not any of your business, it's amazing. It's like I finally found myself. You know, I wasn't myself for so long. I really wasn't myself until probably I turned 36, you know, about 2 years ago. And before that, it was just, I felt like I was living for everybody else. I guess that's my sermon for the day. Yeah, don't let that negativity, don't let that stereotype scare you away from trying new things. Everything's politicized now. You just gotta ignore all that. You know, if something is popular and one group does it, that doesn't mean that you can't do it if you're not a part of that group. Like I said, doors will open up for you once you get out of that mindset and discover a lot of new things. And life becomes really interesting and enjoyable for sure. Well, we made it back to my spot, and I took down the pipe stakes because tomorrow I got a load of some 36-inch concrete pipe supposed to go down the whole length of the trailer. I haven't done one like this yet, so it's going to be interesting. The broker I was talking to was saying you run like chain down the entire length of the trailer, basically from the front all the way to the back over the pipe, 2 chains. Then of course you run your straps, you know, maybe every third piece of pipe, because they're 3 feet. And of course you got to have your chocks front and back. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting load tomorrow. Alright guys, well I had to record over this because some things have changed since I filmed this. Hey, be sure to like and subscribe, share and comment. I appreciate everybody who subscribes to the channel. And if you subscribe, here is my promise. Next time you need that AA battery, not only will the store have 1, they'll have 6. I guarantee you.